Are there any core content projects you worked on with the students using peer-to-peer networking?
Not this year, but in my former capacity as a teacher in another school system, it was important that students in a larger setting, as opposed to in a classroom, maybe several classrooms across the school, were able to communicate with each other about projects they were working on in that school.
Okay.
There were some seniors that had some capstone projects where it was important that they all complete a certain part of the assignment at the same time.
Okay.
So allowing them to communicate via computer, peer-to-peer format, teachers, of course, administering that, could observe students sharing information with other students around the school at the same time while they were all working on the project, because physical space requirements couldn't allow them all to be in the same room at the same time. So that was my observation of that in my capacity as a teacher in another school. But we are a smaller school, so we have classroom settings for students to be in the same room.
Excellent. Okay, there are times when students are distracted by the activities of the internet. And this can go on while instructors are teaching. Give me your thoughts on remote control software, really relinquishing control to the instructor.
Well, I agree with the opportunity that teachers in a lab setting, computer lab setting, should have immediate access to what the students are working on. One, for protection situations. If something weird happens with the computer, the teacher can remotely resolve that issue. Two, for learning objectives. If the student is having a struggle, they can immediately chime into the teacher at their workstation. There's an opportunity called NetOps, which is something that many schools use to allow the teachers to remotely control what the student is doing, and the students thus can see what the teacher is doing as well on each one of their computers. So I think a great opportunity is student A is working on something. I noticed that he did a really good job at that. Instead of me demonstrating for the class, I can use the NetOps application to project his image on the LCD projector, and he can show the rest of the class what he's come across at that moment. So
it would seem like that would be a great motivator for them, especially if their work, they know that they've done dynamic work, and you, the instructor, are giving them praise for that work. It seems that would be incentive. And
relinquishing control to the teacher as well, with the peer-to-peer being integrated into that. The student can send a message to the teacher's workstation if he happens to be there and say, "Mr. So-and-so, I'm having problems with this situation," and I can remotely control his computer and show him or her where they need to make a change or some improvement on.
Excellent. Okay, you have a NAV program here, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In which areas have students improved most through technology-enhanced instruction regarding viruses and spyware?
The NAV program, our relationship with them, they provide several areas of curriculum and instruction that are industry ready, whereas they have the information as it's real time, pretty much close to being changed. So we had the opportunity this year to take a look at some of their curriculum, which dealt specifically with viruses and antiviruses and spyware and malware and freeware and other things that can impose a malicious harm to the computer. And students were very interested in that situation, so they can protect themselves at home and protect themselves at school, and not transmit that danger from home to school if they have a flash drive or a CD or some type of other media recording device. So being exposed to that gives them a great opportunity to see what some of the dangers are out there when it comes to the internet and sharing information, and just the privacy of your information as well. So it was about a week to 2 week focus on computer viruses and different types of viruses and how they can harm your computer, and what are some of the preventative measures you can take to not be succumb to that situation.
Very good. Okay, and finally, Mr. Warren, how do you keep up to date in a rapidly changing profession such as yours? For instance, how does the school respond to sources of radio interference such as microwave ovens that could cause connection problems? Are there interruptions daily? And how is this handled?
Well, after years of experience working with technology and physical support and logical support, there are new ways now that microwave and radio waves can be prevented from intervening in the work of the students or the work of the school. Special types of wiring and coding on the cables. The distance from the devices themselves is obviously an important factor. So without focusing on it, it's implied that we're taking these measures to make sure the computers are not compromised by any type of radio or microwave device. They're in a location which is far from the computers, at least a good certain amount of feet, and the wiring and the cabling that's installed in schools and businesses is always the best so that it can prevent that type of interruption in service. It's important to realize that those type of technologies out there, Bluetooth, infrared, radio frequencies, cellular frequencies, all those things can potentially interrupt the computer itself. So we take measures to make sure those items are not near the computers so that they don't interrupt the student service or their work or damage any of their computers.
Okay, I want to thank you so much. You have greatly enhanced and broadened my scope, and I hope that you get a chance to read the next article.
Thank you.
All right.
Good luck, Ms. Moore.